So I just witnessed one example of how we fail up. You know how we say that it's a cabal, it's Illuminati, it's the deep state. But if Tim Waltz would have said that he was being persecuted by capitalists for funneling $300 million into fraudulent government programs, right, for the Somalians, right, he'd be cooked. But he never will be cooked, because he said he's being persecuted by white supremacists. Now, to Republicans or something, they would be like, what the hell are you talking about? That's obviously going to get you canned. Like, nobody believes that. But the masses, they don't know that white supremacy means capitalism. So he just played two different groups, and he's in this like a kind of a sweet spot. Like, the masses, like, oh, you're being persecuted by white supremacy. We like that. We like you, right? His people in his peers, right, in government, they're like, we can't allow the precedent for somebody to abuse capitalism. Like, if we let you steal $300 million, we got to let everybody steal $300 million. They'll go to jail to steal 500. It's grand larceny if you steal $500. So you'll go to prison for that. And the socialists have swapped out the word white capitalism for white supremacy, because that way you can fail up. Like, it's like liberal hive mind is a conservative channel, and he's always talking about so and so has done it this time, they're cooked, their career's over, so and so just exposed them, they're finished. How are they gonna survive this? They have to, like, they're never going away ever. They fail up. Like, okay, so his career is cooked, he's gonna lose his job, he's gonna get a promotion. He's being persecuted. The reason the masses have power and what they have power for to affect is two different things. It's not for their own good. If they have short attention span, maybe they feel guilty. They don't want to be reminded of a part that they played or responsibility that they had in co-signing on an agenda that didn't serve their own end. So they don't want to be bothered with none of it. Plus, they're being coerced. There's coercion on a large scale. So it's like and then they talk all this marginalization, oppression shit. So then they have to make it true. Like, so they're more interested. They're kind of lightweight interested in being accosted more than anybody getting vindication. So like, and that's just regular, like, people like that. Are even my dear sweet mom. She needs that one-dimensional evil character to blame for, instead of being able to think introspective. Like, it just does, like, that's too challenging. And being able to hate Trump is not a challenge, because he's done terrible things. He's done awful, terrible things. People that say somebody's done awful, terrible things and take a millennium to describe what they did with some citation, and then say that we're the science people, we only trust peer-reviewed, you know what I mean? Like, and actually, I didn't even know that white supremacy meant capitalism before Carolyn Borisenko. I didn't know that. I kind of lightweight in the back of my mind knew that a person doesn't have to be gay to be queer. How am I going to tell black people this? How am I going to tell them that queer is a political ideology, and it has nothing to do with gay, and that for the socialist, trans means transcend gender, so they don't believe in changing gender, because by doing that you're upholding the gender ideology and the identity is capitalism. So it's like that I kind of knew that, but I never thought about it though. It's like, I still would think queer means you're gay. How are you gonna explain this to black people? It was like resistant. We're resistant because it's like, you're talking about queer stuff. You know what I mean? Like, why stop saying stuff like, why is everything you talking about ass? Like, why are you always joking about this? And like, I want to be, make sure that I'm not like, like Conan O'Brien, he can every joke he talks about could be an ass joke, but I can't fuck no. So some things is gonna be like, you can't be pragmatic because maybe it's been outmoded by our own slang and other ways that you can mean. If you're really from here to be able to relate to us, then you go about it this way. We don't even use those terminologies. We're not, but we get co-opted. So we can not be revolutionary commies, get co-opted by them, not want to know how, and be averse to anybody explaining how it's not even your fault. The super long, crazy legs that the race card has to play extend to somebody to take $300 million out of local municipal programs and send it to Somalia to help Al-Shabaab, al-Nusra or something, so that they can fucking kill their own people. But over here, it's like, oh, you're Ilhan Omar is like some kind of fucking Mother Teresa. I mean, Mother Teresa is shady too, but I mean, I don't want to get into that. How Gandhi is a retard and all that kind of shit. Gandhi was a racist. And he wears diapers. It's like, I don't expect anybody to get, it's like, we like to put the power in somebody else's hand. And we expect you to pull off something miraculous. And don't even get interested in it. Like, we think they have a plan already or something. It doesn't even have to, like, the thing is a plan, hoping that scenario never takes place. It's not because you're ready or you feel like you're ready, then all of a sudden you were like, okay, let's see this scenario play out. Like, I don't want that scenario to play out because I'm not a revolutionary commie. It might be a little bit socialist or something like that. So yeah, the secret to failing up is by taking a word and applying it to capitalism, but never, and being that you have to live within the capitalist structure. You can't say that you're being persecuted by capitalism. It's like you're marking yourself out, like, oh, what did you do? Like, what did you do to make the system not work? No, you're gonna say it was white supremacy meaning capitalism, and everybody in your group that has a pact with you, they don't, like, they know what to say instead. It's like they're all coached up and everything. Yeah, how is Mike Waltz and marginalized, oppressed, like he's got all these intersectionality points when all he did was channel $300 million into fraud? Because he's anti-capitalist. He would go to jail if he was anti-capitalist. So he's persecuted by white supremacy, and that means capitalist. And then the conservatives don't know what he just said. They think that he's finished because nobody's going to believe him. Nobody's going to believe this nonsense about white supremacy and everything. But he said capitalism. And in the context of capitalism, if we don't know each other's semantics and are the words that we use, if we don't know what they mean, then you're talking past each other. Just like Andrew Wilson said, he would get pedantic, right? So you'll see some pedantry or pedantic whatever coming from both sides, because they're talking past each other. They want to trigger, one side wants to trigger the other side wants to cancel you, debank you, ruin your life. And I don't know. I mean, I don't see either side being a complete victory, but just a huge waste of effort and energy, and also stressing your sensibilities to the wit's end because of this. How the fuck can you lose? How the fuck can you lose to somebody like that? How does he get a promotion? We were just talking about his finished. Your career's done, son. Wrap it up. Like, fucking roll his shit up. He's not going anywhere. And he gets more famous and more famous. So the corruption, his name gets out there, more and more and more. Oh, shit. He's against capitalism. He's against white supremacy. The masses are averse to getting deep dive into anything. They're trying to protect their feelings, and I protect my feelings a lot too. But when you get the terminology right, then I can still protect my feelings, and you can get fucked. But they're not gonna fuck themselves. You just have to know what they mean. So don't take it like, take it to mean that, Tim Walz is being persecuted by capitalists. But we are in a capitalist structure. So if you upset it, then you're going to cause mass starvation. Productivity is going to plummet. Nobody's going to be able to do anything to help each other. Then you have all these daycare centers. Like, how do you have a fucking street with fucking 50 daycare centers all competing for competition for daycare, and there's no kids, and just a bunch of neck breathing Somalis that have no concept of a capitalistic structure. So that's demonized, because it's like, if you're participating in that, you didn't work out in the sun. You were working inside the house. It was like, so that's a trip. My great grand uncle Sterling Morris was black and a slave owner, so he's actually really white. Now I don't know about how everybody could treat their slaves in any old different way. Some people's slaves were part of the family. Some people's slaves were not allowed to study how the written word, how you read or anything like that. They would get beat the shit out of. But it's like because it was a part of the institution at one time. Then after we ended slavery, we're still we're still evil because slavery built it. So you got to give it back over to the generation that's not going to know how to run it. Because of idealism, then everybody can starve, because the road to hell is paved by good intentions. And since that, you should be protected. But since there's so many nitwits that are just they just want a safe space, and they have an attention span is short, and they want to be austere at the same. They want to have their cake and eat it too. You want to be safe and austere at the same time in a country that thrives off of risk takers, where everybody made it something by taking risks even when it was adverse. Now we just say this is a total polar opposite, and it doesn't match the what's it called, the ethos. So you have a different ethos. You're more like a fucking fat caliphate. You're like a in a scarf. It's because we subjugated people, then we have to be subjugated. But you got to get smarter. So for a little while they're winning because they think that we won't iron out the semantics. So we don't want a presupposition, because then you're going to get closer to figuring out our worldview. We don't want to use semantics, because then we're going to be on the same page. We kind of have to argue bad faith, because we don't want Tim Walz to get in trouble. But then we don't, the masses don't think like that. Those are his cohorts, but the way we think of it is oh shit, white supremacy is the biggest problem, and he's being persecuted by it, so we should assist him, rush to him. He ends up getting famous the more it gets pumped out that he's corrupt. He gets more famous. Then for some reason he can vote. He can run, and you can vote for him for a higher office. That's how it. And then we just blame the government when we voted for them. So the government can't protect us from socialism because it was lightweight built by socialism too, like they're log cabin socialists in 1800s, or like Blavatsky, or like people that even you admire or look up to. You're gonna have to acknowledge that they were revcons, or that they were queer Marxists, like Langston Hughes. It was his choice. If you ask Langston Hughes what kind of person he would want to be, he's going to want to be a queer Marxist. It's not like we're not exposing that. That's what he wants, you know? But you're like, you can't say that. You can't allow the man to have his own fucking manifest destiny as a fucking queer Marxist. That's what he wants. Why is it a bad thing for you to point it out? If that's a fucking double-sided fucking, what's it called, a double standard or something? And so that you know, you want to suggest that I should sit my bare ass on the curb and like, you know, allow everything to balance out, you know, like I'm like Gandhi or something like that. And then you need sensitivity training and everything. It's gonna be like, fuck you. Fuck you. And from there, I guess people are just gonna be like, I smell alcohol on his breath. Like, they're saying, we're being harassed, but you're really just a caliphate full of fat women. A fat lady caliphate. I can't believe that you got legs. The legs that you got is that fucking racial, the racial, what do they call it? Atmosphere and shit. Like, back in the 80s and 90s, that shit did not have crazy ass legs. We didn't depend on that shit. Like, you guys, you don't even know nothing. If you think that's all it was, you don't know nothing. And it's not cute. Plus, we could, it's all this fucking, this is like a ploy to transfer power from those who are like, you know, democratic and socialist over to socialist, communist, queer Marxists. And I didn't even know it was happening. I didn't know queer was a political what's it called? A political identity. I thought it was having to do with being gay. But then you remember when people would be like, oh, so-and-so is gay. Yeah, is he queer? Oh, I don't know. Like, I remember that now. Like, I remember, like, liberals talking about people that were gay and then asking if they were queer. But from a conservative, you're like, oh, you can't say schmear the queer when you play that football game because it's, like, against gay people. You didn't know that it wasn't. So you can say queer all you want, and all you're saying is basically like, you know, Republican, libertarian, queer, like, you know, you can't say queer because it's like a cut down. But then why do you wear it like a badge of honor? So you should be proud to be called a queer. You're a right proper queer. Why is that an insult? I didn't say nothing about your sexual orientation. You know what I mean? We're like, that's not true. You did. But you're a regular liberal progressive. You don't know the way that what's it called? The revolutionary commies think. So I don't got to be in their fucking special group to be able to say that without it being a derogatory, because then they're the special people. They're gonna get us all killed, and you're gonna help. The masses are gonna help, because you want a safe space to be left alone and not have to study or learn anything. Then it's like a copium comfort, like you made a little comfort zone, like so that you can't actually get put back together, binded. You can't get stitches. You can't get anything because they have to actually redress the wound. You're never going to let anybody get close to it.